So basically, the disputed period is between Alexander's conquest of Persia and the agreed upon 312 BC date. So, what evidence is there that Alexander conquered Persia in 330 BC and not the rabbinic date of 317 BC? Well, like all conventional dates, is that they're established after taking into consideration the whole body of historical documents and current archaeological findings, is that they're weighed against one another, see where they agree, where's the little bit of differences, and try to reconcile all those, see if the time frames are realistic, and so on and so forth. And with all that type of minutia work that goes into it, is that these are the dates for his conquering of the Near East and his death in 323 BC, after which the partitioning of the empire took place. We've discussed how it was split up, but notice that only the Macedonian Empire started on the 323 BC date, while the others are established later. The reason is because the partition wasn't simply, okay, there goes the whole unified empire hope, we quit, let's just split up this into force now. What happened was Perdiccas was named regent of the empire, not king, but regent, and 4 generals were appointed as military satraps over the 4 territories. Now, why none of these were named king was because 2 others held that title, Alexander IV and Philip III. Alexander IV was Alexander the Great's son. The thing is that he was born right after Dad died. So there's royal blood available, but since he's an infant, is that you need somebody to still act like, the head of state. Philip III is the half-brother of Alexander the Great and was, quote-unquote, king, but he was mentally ill as well. The main thing here is that these 2 have minted coins of them. So they obviously existed and came between the time of Alexander the Great and the Seleucid era beginning in 312 BC. Because these 2 weren't normal ruling kings, is that some of the generals saw it as a time to seize more power, and with that, kick-started the civil wars between them by forming new alliances with each other that led to another war, and so on and so forth. It's in 312 BC that the Battle of Gaza takes place as Ptolemy and Seleucus align themselves to take on Demetrius I. After this victory is where the Seleucid era begins. So, history alone shows that the rabbinic dating for Alexander the Great is wrong. And you can see the gap between Alexander the Great and Seleucus on the reverse side of the king list that we saw earlier. And as for pinning down Alexander's death in the year 323 BC, is that the Babylonian astronomical diaries contain a fragment that records in great detail the star and lunar alignments of the night that Alexander died. It was a little cloudy, so exactly if it was June 10th or 11th is, we don't know for sure, but it's one of the 2. Before moving on, is that there's a grave historical error that the Talmud made with this contrivance that runs in opposition with the Bible. And that deals with the Talmud's statement that Alexander ruled in Elam for 6 years before conquering the whole world. It's the location of Elam that we are going to put them into a catch-22. Because you can see that those 6 years are Artaxerxes' last 6 years. So that this would be his 28th through 34th year according to the rabbis. But here's their ghastly error. Elam is Susa. And we know this because Daniel 8:2 said that Susa was in the province of Elam. That can be seen here on the map. After Cyrus conquered Susa, he renamed the province Elam to Caesarea. After this, it became one of the capitals of the Persian Empire. So, to conquer Susa, i.e. Elam, is to conquer Persia. Nehemiah 1:1. In the 20th year, as I, Nehemiah, was in Susa the palace. So, Nehemiah asked Artaxerxes in Susa, i.e. Elam, to go to Jerusalem to fix it up, which would be 8 years before Alexander is said to have conquered it, according to the rabbis. The problem is that Nehemiah 13:6 says that Nehemiah came unto the king again in the 32nd year, which is in complete contrast to what the Talmud taught about Alexander's conquest. So once again, we don't even need to go to all the secular evidence to prove that the Seder Olam and the Talmud are wrong. All we need is just Scripture. Reminder, hit the subscribe button below, turn on the notification bell, hit the like button, leave a comment, and don't forget to visit us at justscripture.org. But in the meantime, stay salty.